So at the start of transplant season, one of our biggest jobs was transforming the Rolling Thunder, which is this big greenhouse, from our main greens area into a house full of tomatoes. So on that morning, it was Wednesday, CSA share morning, so we started off by harvesting as much of this as we possibly could. I was on spinach duty, harvesting spinach bundles. Can we just appreciate this bok choy? It was starting to bolt, which means it goes to flower and goes up, and it was just massive. So while they were getting that all cleared up, we went and started organizing our harvest. We also had to wash off some vegetables. So here's Hannah rinsing off the beautiful head lettuces. And when we were finished, we had a whole cooler full of head lettuce, bags of greens, chard, kale, spinach bundles, cilantro bundles, tons of bok choy, and then we had to bag it all up for the shares. Here's what the Rolling Thunder looked like after we'd harvested and tilled and reset the beds with T-tape.
First thing I do is just kind of open the roots up a little bit, and then I pruned off a couple of these last branches, just a little clip with your fingernail. If you pulled it, it would rip it, so I cut it with my fingernail. So, and then I'm alternating sides, so this, I'm here, and then find my emitter. Tomatoes are cool, they'll like send out roots all on their stem. So the deeper you go, they'll send out more roots on there. So
Cool.
okay. If you see a rock, get out of here.
Me and Hannah got started transplanting while the rest of the gang continued laying tomato plants out. And this is what they looked like when they were all laid out before actually going in the ground. And then once they were all laid out, everyone got to planting. And here was the final product. Huge transformation in just one day. Oh my gosh. So about a week later was one of our next big transplanting pushes, transplanting out all of the cucurbits, which includes squash, melons, cucumbers. And then we got to planting. We planted out, I think, 8 beds that day, which took a while, but it was great to have so many hands helping us out. once we'd popped those in the ground, we had to lay out this row cover to keep them warm, especially because we had a frost as recently as just like 2 weeks ago. I'm editing this on June 21st. And for the row cover, it's at least a 2 or 3 person jobs, because then someone has to pull it tight and then someone else has to pop dirt clods on either side to keep it secure. And then once it's initially set, you can go in and fill in the gaps, putting a clod every foot or so to really keep that down. A couple days later, we came back out to transplant all of the winter squash that was in a separate area. When you're transplanting any kind of cucurbit, you want to be very careful. They don't like any root disturbance. Yeah, you just want to get it out of the pot, don't squeeze the roots or anything, and get it in the ground as smoothly as you can. And then just give it a nice firm press and pull that T-tape up close so that it can get a drink. This farm sells a lot of flowers at the farmer's market as well, and they're just really important for pollinators. So we planted out a couple beds of those and then finished that day off with the last bed of melons. Everyone that wanted to got to learn how to use the auger, which is the machine we use to make the holes for the hoops. The next day, this was less transplanting related, but at that point it had been a couple weeks since we had planted out the tomatoes, so it was time to trellis them because they were getting pretty big. So to do this, you just start by clipping off the bottom branches so that the plant will put more of its energy into growing up than growing out at that moment at least, and to make it easier to wrap the string around like this. And then you'd grab one of these little clips that has some teeth in it to grab hold of the string and clip it around the base of the plant. On this day, it was actually the day after I got my second dose of the COVID vaccine, so I wasn't feeling very good, but it was nice to do a task that I could just sit on the ground for. Great crew of volunteers there that day. So what is usually like a multi-day task, trellising this whole hoop house, took us all just one morning, and this was the final product, another huge transformation.